Hey, Facebook.
Hey, Facebook.
Hey, YouTube.
Hey, YouTube.
We sorry. We're sorry for being late today.
Yes.
But we's here now. Yes. So we first want to just we here in the building.
I can't with you. Yes, we are. We
Wow,
are.
we's here now. We's here
So,
now. Hold on, give us 1 second. Let's see. hmm So we are talking today about what? We are
growing
talking
pains.
about growing pains. So, yes. So, we know that 2 weeks ago we talked about what did we talk about? We talked about pruning season.
Yes.
Right? We talked about pruning season. And so we talked about, trying to get rid of things that, that were holding us back. It's time, the seasons are changing. And
Yes.
then last week we talked about, is there more wealth in the cemetery than it is here, because people are leaving this earth with not fulfilling their purpose.
Yeah.
So today we wanted to top it off with growing pains. So we know that in those growing pains, or in growth, there is pain, right? Because
Yeah.
when you're growing, there sometimes you're going to have to let certain things go, right? We talked about pruning season. And then we just really have to, and it's not going to always feel good, because we know that everything that is good for us doesn't always, it's not if whatever feels good isn't always good, right? So we know that sometimes things are going to be like that. And so in spite of how we are feeling, we have to make sure that, does this align with our purpose? Is this going to stop me from growing? And so in that, we may go through some things physically, we may
Hmm.
go through some things emotionally, mentally. And so we just have to kind of be prepared to do that.
Yeah, you do. Um, when you said growing pains, I was thinking about, as children or even as adults, when we buy something and we like it, but there are times that it may shrink.
Mm.
Sometimes we may shrink or get bigger. Um,
Mm.
but we have to come to grips that it's time to let it go.
Mhm.
So that's a part of growing. You have to make a decision. Is it something that I hold on to, or is it something that I let it go? And sometimes it is painful to let things go, let people go, let situations go, but it is a part of life. And it's something that I know for me, I'm learning. I tend to, try to keep a schedule, or I have to keep this and keep that. But I'm learning as life, as I grow and things progress, that I have to be flexible. And
Mhm.
being flexible is a part of being able to grow and being able to adapt to change.
Indeed. Um, I think that sometimes that kind of goes back to what we were talking about last week. Is our have we allowed our purpose to die? And because we're not open to being flexible, or things where they come and there might be a monkey wrench thrown in what our idea was or our plan was,
Mhm.
and then we're just kind of like, this doesn't feel good. And sometimes when things don't feel good, we're just ready to just say, okay, I'm over it. This is too much for me. So it doesn't feel good. And it's not going to always feel good. When you go and maybe you have to go and, like, you have surgery, right? We know that the surgery is there to mend something. It may
Yeah.
be to remove something. It may be to put something back together that has been
Mhm.
broken. We'll use a broken leg, for example. The leg has been injured, it's broken. You go to the doctor, they do the surgery. Well, I don't know if always surgery you get a broken bone, but anyway, something is broken and they need to put it back together, right? And
Yeah.
then you have surgery, and during the healing process, it doesn't always feel good because what do? They send you home with medication, tell you to take it easy. This is your time to rest and to really reset, right? So we need to know that it's not going to always feel good,
Yeah.
but in the end, it will be good.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I had a situation, what is today? Thursday, I think. I want to say Monday or Tuesday this week. We had a situation, and a lady who she was real nasty
Mhm.
to the kids outside. And I looked when I let we let it go, whatever. And Sharita was leaving. As she was leaving, the lady approached her and I could hear her getting loud. And listening to the situation, I said, let me go outside. And when I got out there, the situation had like escalated with her. She got louder and louder and louder. And she said something to me that was like a trigger. Um,
Mhm.
she was talking about my son.
Mhm.
And when she said what she said, somebody had said that years ago. And I paused, and it was like, what are you going to do? We talk about I've changed, you've changed, I can handle situations. And the old Renee would have really taken a situation, it would have escalated.
Right.
But I paused and I told her, I said, you're very disrespectful. And she
Mhm.
said, and she was cussing. I mean, she was cussing.
Wow.
And I said, you're very disrespectful. And I said, I'm going to tell you something. I said, you can be right with your point, but how you're saying it, you're totally wrong. I
Right.
said, nobody's going to listen to you. And I said,
Mhm.
had this been years ago, we wouldn't even be holding this conversation.
Wow.
And I walked away from her, and she kept apologizing, kept apologizing. And I realized at that moment, people can argue, but they can't argue by themselves.
Right.
So I
Right.
walked away, and she kept apologizing. But at that moment, I realized, like, you've grown in certain areas.
Amen. Look at you, the test, girl.
Yeah, because it was a trigger with she, and you know how we can get when it comes to our
Oh
children.
yeah. Oh
You know
yeah.
how we can get, and I'm realizing that we can be right, we can defend ourselves, but it's how we defend ourselves, and when we
Amen.
defend ourselves, and when we just pick and choose our battles. And every battle, when I walked away, she was still apologizing. Why? Because you can't argue with yourself, and two, you don't have no power over me.
Amen. There you go. That right there. That right there is a part of your growing pains because
Yes,
we're so used to doing things one particular way. Right?
yes,
We're used to saying, "Oh, you cussing me out? Oh, I'm gonna cuss you back out.
yeah,
Oh, you think that you can get loud? Oh, I'm gonna get louder."
yeah.
So we're taking this, and this is what we've been used to doing for so
Mhm.
many years, all of our
Yeah,
lives, and then we're just like, I'm gonna give you what you giving me, right? But that's not always it. We have
mhm,
to, when we start to mature, we have to start taking responsibility for our part in it, even if
that's it.
even if we're right,
Yeah,
we were being done wrong. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? How can I de-escalate this situation? Because
yeah,
like you said, you could have easily went out there. She was cussing and getting loud or whatever, and you could have
mhm.
matched that.
Yeah,
But
I could have went toe to toe with her.
oh, I know.
And I'm just like, now I'm at the point where I'm I'm valuing a lot of things now, and I'm looking at a lot of things differently, and I'm picking and choosing my battles.
Mhm.
And and that was like the second test. So I'm like, am I being tested to see like my attitude, where I fly off the hinges, where I get out here and fight? Like, and I feel like I'm being tested because this was the second time in 7 days and I was tested.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, in that area. So I'm like, um,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm just like, I guess, not that I'm getting older, but I'm just realizing that it's how you handle a situation. and how
Oh
you
yeah.
allow people to take you out of who you are and where you've come from.
Mhm.
I don't have the energy to be in that space no more.
Right. Well, older doesn't always mean better,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's in, you're wiser, you're maturing,
yeah,
you're being responsible.
yeah.
Um, I read something the other day. This was probably like a few weeks ago, and it said when maturity meets responsibility.
I love that.
And I was like, wow.
I love
And
that.
I wrote it down, and I was like, when maturity meets responsibility,
Yeah,
it hits different.
it
And it
does.
does.
It
And it
does.
does. Because it's like, having one without the other,
Yeah,
that's like peanut butter, no jam. I
yeah.
mean, come on, you
Oh,
know.
it makes a world of difference. And it's just,
Mhm.
you know, you don't want to go through the same thing year after year after year and realize that you're in the same situation and you haven't changed. We haven't changed. And that's the biggest thing that's where I'm at now. I'm like, I don't want to go through the same stuff over and over again. Like I did that.
Right.
You waste so much
Yeah.
time.
Mhm.
And it's just like you have to be willing to say, I'm ready for change. And that's what growing
Amen.
pain is about. We
Yes.
tend to look at somebody else. No, we have to look at ourselves. Are we willing to do the work to change?
Amen. Amen. Because we can't change people.
No,
We cannot change people.
no.
We can be the example,
Yep.
and we can teach people how to treat us,
Yes.
right? So, we're setting clear boundaries.
Yep.
And boundaries don't mean what I'm not going to take
Mm,
from you.
yeah.
Boundaries means what I'm going to do for me,
Yep.
right? So that means that instead of me saying I'm not going to allow you to talk to me like that, that
Mm-hmm.
means that I'm not going to sit here and listen to you talk to me like
Yep.
that, right? So, and I do believe that growing pains also, as much as it means that yes, we have to look at ourselves, we have to also defend ourselves.
Yeah.
We have to learn to advocate for ourselves. We have to learn to
Yes.
defend ourselves, because it can cause you to, if for so many years, you just allow people to just say and do whatever, treat you how,
Mhm.
any old kind of way. You have to advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make me feel good. So you don't have to stop it, but I'm not going, you can do it by yourself, just like you
Yeah.
left the lady there to argue with herself, you know. I won't be here to accept it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And growing, when you grow, I know growing, a part of growing is realizing what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and what situations you will put yourself in or allow yourself to be put in as well.
Yes.
And I love what you said about, what you allow. In growing pains, you will look at a lot of situations differently, and respond differently when you grow. And some people may not understand that. They
No.
may feel like, you've changed, you're trying to act like you're better than somebody else. No, it just means that I'm growing, and
Yes.
what used to work, what used to fit, it doesn't fit me anymore.
That's, oh my goodness. This is like really funny, right? Because when Sam was younger, she
Mm,
had, like, those onesie pajamas that had the feet in it and they zip up
yeah.
or whatever. And so she had one, and then she was growing, and she did not want to let that thing go. And I was like, it can't zip up anymore, because it had gotten to the point where it was like, she was walking all stiff because she couldn't move her legs. And eventually, my mother was like, "Listen, the baby won't let go of it. We had to cut the feet out of it because she would not let
Oh
it
my
go."
gosh.
Some things you have to know when to let it go.
Yeah, you do. Oh
You
my
have to
gosh.
learn to let
Yes.
it go. We don't fit in it anymore.
Oh
You know?
gosh.
Yeah. And as we mature,
Yeah.
We're different. It's just, what used to be funny to me, it might not be funny anymore.
No.
Yeah, as
No.
we change in our lives. What we once had a taste for, we don't like that anymore. So yeah, we just have to know that it is a part of growing.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with growth. It's a part of life, but sometimes some people, they don't want to grow. They don't want to change. That's like the movie 17 again. I love that movie. They've remade that movie so many times. But the guy was he was an adult and he wanted to be a kid. So he
Mhm.
went back, he made some wish and he went back to being 17 again.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, he was like, oh, I missed all these different things. But I'm like, it comes a point where you may have wanted to do certain things when you were younger, but you're
Mhm.
older now. You
Right.
can't go back. You can't keep living in the past and trying to redo things or deciding that I want to stay a kid. You have to grow. You have to mature. You have to, gain knowledge and experience.
Mhm.
The worst thing to do is to be on your deathbed and you realize that you never grew. You realize that a lot of things never happened because you did not want to change. You wanted your mindset to remain in the same situation. And
Mhm.
that's the worst place to be.
Oh yeah. That there can be, I'd rather have growing pains than just regret,
Yeah.
heartache, because we never went to the next level, or I never
Mhm.
even tried,
Yeah.
so it's just really about, we just have to just know that things are going to be difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
Everything is not going to be a piece of cake. Everything's not going to be a nice walk in the park. And you have to remember, sometimes when you walking in the park, the birds might be in the trees, and then the birds release, you might get poop on your head. Things are not going to always be great all the time.
When you said something, gosh, what is it? Oh my goodness. You said something and it triggered a thought about the children of Israel. Remember
Mm.
they were trying to come out and they said, no, we want to go back. They said, we go
Mm.
back, we know it's graves there. Not graves, but we know it's, they knew all this stuff was there. They
Right.
wanted to go back to what was familiar.
Yeah.
Because if they moved it forward, they didn't know. They had to rely on God daily. And that's how some people are stuck. I
Yeah.
know what I'm used to. I know what I'm familiar with. I can just stick with that. But if
Mhm.
I have to let that go and go to the unfamiliar and not
Yeah.
know what's going to happen day by day, some people are afraid of that. And
Yeah.
sometimes we don't know what's going to happen. Faith is the substance of things that we hope for. We
Right.
don't always know. The evidence is not there sometimes. So
No.
we have to walk by faith and trust that if God is leading us, he said he will supply our needs every daily.
Amen.
We tend
Amen.
to want to know a year and 2 and 5 years down the road. No, daily. Give us this our daily bread daily. So
Mhm.
that's why a lot of people are stuck because it's like the familiar I know, but moving forward and growing, I don't know what to expect.
Right. Well, but and that comes with Renee. That comes with just being flexible, right? With us being flexible, um, because yeah, the Bible also says to write it down and make it plain.
Yeah.
That might be the plan for the moment,
Yeah.
right? And then God is like, okay, well, you've been faithful with this. That was part of the plan, and we're thinking
Yeah.
that is the plan. And he's like, okay, well, now you done got down to Red Road. Now it's time for you thought you was gonna stay here. No,
Uh,
that's not it. Let's
mm-hmm.
let's regroup and let's do this again.
Yes.
You have further to go. And so it's important that you can't you have to stay strong in your faith. And like
Yes.
you said, trust God in to supply all your needs daily, every day.
Yeah.
So remain flexible, so that you will be able to continue to move forward. You
Yeah.
know, so yes, write it down and make it plain, but know that there may be some things that are added because he didn't give it all to you at one time.
Yeah. Yeah. We have to expect the unexpected sometimes, and we have to be prepared for it. Because we can have plans, we can have all these great grand ideas and visions and business plans and
Mhm.
ministry plans, personal um, plans. And when you said that, I'm thinking of, every little girl dreams that they're going to grow up and they're going to get married and have this beautiful wedding and, all this stuff. I'm going to have the house, the dog, the 2 kids, all this stuff is what life going to be perfect. You
Yeah.
never hear anybody say, "Oh, if I don't get married, guess what? Life still is going to be perfect." Or if
Right.
I don't have any kids, life is still going to be, it's still good. So
Mhm.
we can plan all this stuff out, but the growing pains in that process, we don't know what's going to happen in the middle. So
That's
we
right.
have to stay prayed up. We have to stay ready and open to God's plan, because our plan may not be God's plan. And I know for me, that has happened plenty of times where I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
just know this. And the pain was, it was your plan, Renee, not God's plan.
No, you know, I know.
Oh man,
Oh goodness,
I
yes,
tell
yes,
you,
yes.
I tell you.
Yeah, but
Uh,
it's good. Learn the lessons in those
yeah,
times when it was your plan. It didn't go as planned, and then you had to recover from that. Learn the lesson.
you do have to recover from it. But um, I mentioned a couple weeks ago, we were talking in Sunday school about how I wrote a list of things that I asked God to give me wisdom in. And we have to, I'm not going to say be careful, but I mean, I just wrote, I had so many different areas. I was like, oh God, give me wisdom, give me wisdom. And I just had this grand idea that he was just going to be like, here you go.
Right.
For everything that I had planned. I had no idea what I was writing. And I
Yes.
wrote all those things and I asked him to give me wisdom. And I was just like, God, if I asked for wisdom in these areas, I didn't think I was gonna have to go through. I thought I was just gonna he was just gonna say, here you go, Renee. No,
Mm-mm.
it, no,
No. Yeah, I mean,
it was pain. It was it
would
was
you say
pain
it
and
was pain
growing.
indeed?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
goodness. No. But what movie was that? It was some movie. I don't remember what movie it was. But it was saying that when you ask God for
Mhm.
patience,
That was one of them.
yeah, when you ask God for patience, he gives you the opportunity to show it because most of us learn by experience.
Yes.
So it's not like it's
Yeah.
like, oh, bing, here you go. Because how will you know that you have patience if you never have the opportunity to use it? Right? You
Ah,
don't. You just, oh yeah, I'm a patient person. God gave me patience, but you'll never know until it's tested.
yes.
With most things that we buy, it's tested before it's ever put out on the market.
That's it right there. Yeah, it is. They put a dummy in the car.
Exactly. Right. The dummies in the car.
Yes.
Going through, when you buying jewelry, it goes through the fire. It,
Yeah.
different things, to get all the impurities out and to
Yeah.
make sure that it's okay for you. And then at the end, tested by number one, tested by whoever. Right. So are you gonna get your tested sticker?
Oh my gosh. They had it's funny, but it's not funny. Yesterday, I think it was in Germany, one of those countries. It was a self-driving car,
Uh-oh.
and the police pulled the car over. because the car did something. It was supposed to go straight and it turned and it was an illegal turn, something like that. But he pulled the car over and was like, he was like, it was a self-driving car. So I think that like the maker of the car, they called the car back in or something. But I'm learning with a lot of these self-driving cars, they say they tested them, but it's been a lot of situations where it's like they're doing recalls on certain ones or certain things, different
Wow.
things like that. Yeah. One of the cars was driving, and I think last year, the year before last, it actually hit somebody and killed them. It was big.
What?
Yeah, look at it's a self-driving car. So, and
Wow.
somebody that I think somebody was at a station or somewhere operating the car, but still the car was driving by itself.
Right.
Um, and I'm just like, they say that they did testing, but they say they need to go back now and do more testing. So when
Right.
you try to rush the testing process,
Come
you
on.
end up with stuff like that and have to go back to the lab and go through
Hmm.
that situation all over again. And that's what they're doing with certain cars, going back through that process, and they have to retest it.
Wow. 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 Yes. Trust the process.
Yes.
Even what they say, even when you can't trace it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a part of it. Um, Another thing, another part of growing pains, and this is my opinion. Another part of growing pains is don't be, you have to look outside yourself, right?
Yeah.
You can't always, and yes, we are on this self-care, and by no means am I saying don't, take care of yourself, because yes, you do, right? You
Yeah.
have to take care of yourself first. But we also have to be open to um, you know, being nice to other people,
Yeah.
right? And thinking outside of just ourselves and outside
Mhm.
of just our circle. Um, so we have to make sure that that is part of it. When we've been so used to just, taking care of us or taking care of the people that are in our circle,
Mhm.
we have to think outside. Well, I don't believe in thinking outside the box. Get rid of the box. But we have to think outside of ourselves,
Yeah.
and just that way, because niceness will take you a very, very long way.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Um, I shared with you earlier about a situation that I experienced, and the person um, wasn't really wasn't in any type of position or leadership or anything like that.
Mhm.
And I was nice to it, really nice to the individual um, during a time where people was just like overlooking the individual, like, oh, whatever. And it just so happened um, maybe a month ago, and then again this month, the individual said, I did not forget that you were nice to me when other people looked over me. And
Mhm.
now this person is in like a leadership role. And I
Mhm.
had no idea that we would end up being working together,
Right.
closely together. And the person said that, you were nice to me and I did not forget that. So basically I was just like, you never know.
You
You never
don't
know.
know. You
You never
don't
know.
know.
Yeah.
Maya Angelou said it best. People may forget what you said to them, but they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Oh, that was perfect. That was perfect. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, we do have to be very mindful of that. And just know that it's okay
Yeah.
to be nice to other people. And I mean, it's something that's needed.
Yeah.
We always say that we need to be the example. We do. And so we have to you reap what you sow. And if you're constantly reaping negativity and
Mhm.
complaining and judgment and all of those things, when you're planting those things and you're putting those out there, that's
Mhm.
exactly what you're going to get.
Get back. Yeah.
Yeah, you cannot get apples from an orange tree.
Nope.
So, be very
Nope.
careful of that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you have an Angie moment?
Well, I had one last week. You don't have an inspiring moment this week? Okay. Well, my Angie moment is
Hold on, you gotta give me a chance.
okay, I'm gonna give you a chance.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, so my Angie moment is just to go through. When you can't get over it, it's because you have to go through it. I didn't write that. I didn't come up with it. It was something that my husband actually sent me. And somebody had said that, when you can't get over it, it's because you have to go through it. And so I just encourage you all to stop trying to go around it. Stop
Mm.
trying to, to just not approach it, right? You have to go through it because this is where you're going to learn your experience. This is where you're going to be able to pass the test. This is where you're going to be able to, on the other side of this, you're going to say, oh, I thought it was way worse than that. You
Yeah.
know what? It wasn't as bad as I thought. Or even if it is as bad as you thought that it was, or it was worse, in the end, I promise you it'll be well worth it. So I just encourage you all to stop trying to go around it. Stop trying to, surpass it, and
Mm-hmm.
no, follow through all the steps and just go through it.
I'm over here saying some amen.
Well,
Like
hey,
amen. I'm like amen. Oh
yeah,
man. Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Through it. I like that. I like that.
Mhm,
I do.
mhm.
Very inspiring.
Yes,
We always try to go around stuff instead of going through.
exactly.
Yeah. I love that. I
Yeah.
love that.
But you know what happens when you don't? When you don't go through it,
Mm-hmm.
it just repeats itself.
I go back
You got
around.
to go back around and it'll be right there in your face.
I tell you. I tell you.
Yeah.
Well, we have enjoyed ourselves tonight, and we will be back next Thursday at 7 p.m. sharp and on time. Sharp and on time. We'll be ready next week. Next
Yes,
week is going to be really good. We'll
I'm
be posting.
excited.
Yeah, me too. Me
Yeah,
too. So come ready, y'all, next week. Come
that's
ready.
it. Be ready. We
Yes.
out. Have a good night.
Bye, everyone.